In the dead silence of the night, an old mansion stood alone at the edge of the forest. People said a woman once lived there who had mysteriously disappeared, but her screams could still be heard echoing through the darkness. Harris, a fearless photographer, went there with his team to shoot a horror project. As soon as they entered, their flashlight began to flicker, and the door slammed shut behind them. A cold breeze swept through, chilling them to the bone. Bloody handprints covered the walls, and something thick and black was dripping from the ceiling. Suddenly, they heard the faint sobbing of a woman coming from a dark corner. Harris pointed his flashlight toward the sound, but no one was there. When he turned around, 2 of his teammates were gone. Only their cameras lay on the floor, still recording. In the last footage, a blurry figure could be seen, a woman in a white dress, with hollow, lifeless eyes. Harris tried to escape, but the door wouldn't open. On the wall, written in what looked like blood, were the words, "Whoever enters, never leaves." The next morning, police found only a broken camera and a single photograph. Intact photo Harris stood smiling, and right behind him was the same woman in white. The real horror began when anyone who looked at the photo saw her face appear behind them in the mirror. In the dead silence of the night, an old mansion stood alone, right at the edge of the forest. The locals whispered stories about it, stories of a woman who once lived there and then just vanished. But they say her screams can still be heard, echoing through the darkness on moonless nights. This was the perfect spot for Harris, a fearless photographer who brought his team to shoot a new horror project. From the moment they stepped inside, things felt wrong. Their flashlights, their only source of light, started to flicker erratically. Then, with a deafening crash, the heavy front door slammed shut behind them, sealing them in. A biting cold breeze swept through the decaying halls, chilling everyone to the bone. It wasn't just the cold, though. As their eyes adjusted, Tay saw them bloody handprints smearing the walls, crawling up towards the ceiling. And from that ceiling, a thick, black substance was dripping slowly, methodically, onto the floor. Suddenly, a sound cut through the silence. A woman's faint, heartbreaking sobs, coming from a dark corner of the room. Harris, ever the brave one, aimed his flashlight toward the sound. But there was nothing there, just an empty, dust-filled corner. When he turned back to his team, his heart stopped. 2 of them were gone, vanished into thin air. All that remained were their cameras, dropped on the floor, still recording. Harris grabbed one of the cameras and played back the last few seconds of footage. Through the digital static, a blurry figure slowly came into focus. It was a woman, draped in a tattered white dress, with eyes that were just hollow, lifeless pits of darkness. Panic set in. Harris and his remaining crew member scrambled for the door, pulling, pushing, but it wouldn't budge. That's when they saw the writing on the wall, freshly scrawled in what looked terrifyingly like blood. The message was simple and chilling. Whoever enters, never leaves. The next morning, the police arrived, finding the mansion eerily quiet. Inside, there was no sign of Harris or his team. All they found was a single, broken camera and one photograph that had been printed out. In the photo, Harris stood there, smiling confidently at the camera. But right behind him, her form just barely visible in the shadows, was the same woman in white. But that's not where the real horror ends. The legend says that anyone who looks at that photograph, truly looks into the woman's face, will see her. Not in the picture, but behind them, in the reflection of the nearest mirror. So the next time you glance at your reflection, be careful. You never know who might be looking back. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy a good scare, be sure to subscribe for more.